So you said he had Klay Thompson. All these dudes had more help. Yeah, we're gonna really dive into it, man. Steph Curry, the best player from this generation, dog. It just is what it is. You people mad already, bro.
Now you being condescending. Let's move forward amicably.
Okay, well, check this out, though. First of all, you throwing too many big words at me. Okay, now, because I don't understand them, I'm gonna take them as disrespect. Watch your mouth and help me with the set.
Okay, see, now you found yourself a nigga. You looking for a nigga? Nigga here now, see?
My mind is so spectacular. Open up your aperture. You don't like the light that I be shining, bitch. You Dracula. Southern draw vernacular. Flip you like a spatula. Knew that I was built to put this world up on my scapula. I've been on this road so long, my tires ball. I don't wanna text and no, I don't wanna call. Came in this shit running, bitch, I don't know how to crawl. We ain't never folding, I'm holding the highest card. Look, okay, grew up running post routes. Now I'm on the cash route. Better call the plumber, that boy spitting like a bass spout. All these bad women in this club, fuck is you mad about? Word to all my estheticians, boy, I'm about to lash out. Straight from St. John's to the east side. Jigging since the knee high. Watch the way I put on for my state, nigga, yeehaw. Respecting no everything. Crazy how I made it to the league from the bleach eyes. Boy, my shit hair wrong. Black, rich, and bare arms. Smoking on that yogi, this shit stronger than some bare arms. Goku, I'm in rare form. You cannot prepare for him. When I swing, it's like a carnivore. This shit ain't fair for him. Brought intellect back to this rap shit. You niggas need chapstick. Shit been dry for way too long, and I'm the matchstick. You niggas Nickelodeon me. I'm more like Cap Nick. Cap a nigga, throw him in. Party favors on the table, you can pick and choose. I would be lying if I said it, I don't get confused. I'm just a player in the game and I don't pick the rules. Why trouble always seem to find the ones with shit to lose. About to blow like we just lit the fuse. We double dutch into this dough, I get this shit in twos. Push the button, get it started, put that shit in cruise. A little dust up on his heart, I barely get to use. A fool flatters himself, a wise man flatters a fool. Man, I just came to get it started like mechanics with tools. Cause in my hood, if you don't pack a tool, you planning to lose. These young boys deserve Oscars, they be acting a fool. A couple loose screws, but they hammer accurate. Ooh, I know some niggas stuck on drugs and manufacture it too. School of hard knocks, we all got our bachelor's. Fool, no cap and gowns, but we all had the master. Party favors on the table, you can pick and choose. I would be lying if I said it, I don't get confused. I'm just a player in the game and I don't pick the rules. Why trouble always seem to find the ones with shit to lose. I'm dumb lit, it's about to be a late night. Fresh wax, shawty, show me what it tastes like. Niggas know me in my city like I'm Wayne Wright. Got them looking up to me and we the same height. Ooh, I got it bad, deep in my bag. Foot on the gas, they cannot last. Swimming with the sharks, bitch, that's a great white. Never stopping, we don't even need no brake lights. Say she don't smoke, but she always smoke with me, yeah. Backwards in the air, back up in the ovaries, yeah. All my ops, they stay running like they over easy. Even my masseuses can't just get too close to me, yeah. Shout out to Next. Soon as the ink dry, we count out the checks, yeah. I never flex. I bought up a business, you bought up a section. I'm at the top of my class, yeah. Y'all never learned from your lesson. Skywalker gave me the force, yeah. Turn this into an obsession, yeah. I couldn't wait on the team, cooking shit up with just me and play, yeah. Things never are what they seem, but we know the facts, yeah. Charging that shit to the game, but now I pull up with a battery pack, yeah. The bigger they are, the harder they fall, and we can just leave it at that. I'm dumb lit, it's about to be a late night. Fresh wax, shawty, show me what it tastes like. Niggas know me in my city like I'm Wayne Wright. Got them looking up to me and we the same height. Ooh, I got it bad, deep in my bag. Foot on the gas, they cannot last. Swimming with the sharks, bitch, that's a great white. Never stopping, we don't even need no brake lights. Big bro, why they call you big bro? Every time we hit the bank, we deposit zip codes. Well connected with the streets like we out in Skid Row.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull Up Show. I'm your host, Mr. BJ Matthews, aka B Jizzle. Before we get started, follow us on the YouTube page, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Like, share, subscribe. All of our YouTube videos. Hit that like button. Y'all come in here. Hit the share, subscribe. Hit that Cash App, $ Slick Rick 1991 son. Also, we have super stickers and super comments that are available. It's very simple. All you guys got to do, if you guys are in that chat box in the bottom right hand corner, make sure you guys continuously hit that $ symbol to show your love and donate to the Pull Up Basketball Podcast at y'all convenience. And if you guys do not have Cash App or you don't want to use the super sticker and super comments that are available, you also have Venmo. It's very simple. Venmo right here, you guys can see on the screen, is at BJ/MATHEWS/1. Again, at BJ/MATHEWS/1. You guys continuously show your love in all three of those, fastest man, as we continuously bring this fire content to y'all. But let's get it popping. All right, so we're going to talk about, some subjects. I'm actually making all these videos right now. It's right now approximately 11:38 at night, Thursday on the West Coast. And, I'm putting out these videos for y'all that's going to be dropping on Friday. So you guys make sure you guys tap in and y'all continuously share and subscribe and like these videos and choose to donate at your own discretion. We're going to talk about, a different gear today. And it's going to surrounding a player that is one of the Pantheon greats. Obviously, if you look at him, he's, accomplished so many things, in the NBA. He is a all-time great. He's one of the best players of all time. He's a multi-time champion. Led a franchise, who wasn't really about winning. Well, now that they're one of the most prestigious franchises in NBA history. And this man's also known as the greatest shooter of all time. And his name is Mr. Stephen Curry, aka the babyface assassin, aka the light-skinned assassin, aka Mr. Golden State Warrior, aka you leave him open, you might as well count the bucket. More, may I say more? As y'all come in and smash the like button. Steph Curry today led Team USA with a magnificent performance in the semifinals against Team Serbia, I think with 36 points, and the game went down to the brink of the wire. It was a highly anticipated game. If the USA would have lost, they would have been eliminated, obviously, in which would they have not only gotten the medal, but it would have been probably the most embarrassing loss right outside 2004 when they lost, against Argentina when they stacked their entire team. This probably would have been worse, just off the simple fact that you got guys who are, Mount Rushmore type of players like LeBron James. Steph Curry's Mount Rushmore when it comes to, point guards top two, and you got Kevin Durant, who's one of the Mount Rushmore top scorers of all time. So it obviously would have been, on top of the list. This was at stake, them putting this team together. If they would have, lost this game against a team, really with only two NBA players. Obviously, Nikola Jokic is, like I said, probably the best player in the league. When you look at, just recency. But Team USA has been the favorite, and they're favorites to win the World Cup. So, luckily, Team USA was able to prevail in a nip-tuck game, and it was led by the man on the screen, Mr. Stephen Curry. Now, Steph Curry, obviously, throughout the Olympics has not been, really just dominant. He hasn't really been shooting the ball as good as he could have. Been shooting the ball, especially of late. But that's what just happens. Even as the greatest shooter of all time, he's going to have nights, when the ball just going to go in because, in basketball, that's just how it goes. You're not going to make every shot. You're not going to have every efficient night. There's going to be games where you're actually not, on. So Steph Curry's obviously having, some off nights, shooting the three ball. But because of, who he is, he's going to always have that green light. And also who their coach is, which is Steve Kerr, who's also, Steph Curry's coach during the season for the Golden State Warriors. So really nothing to really worry about when it comes to him. Now, as great as his performance was, I don't want to really, spend too much time on that. I want to talk about a different subject that, a certain somebody, sparked me to have. And that guy's name was the Crunch Time TV. The clip I just showed at the beginning of this video was actually his video, his live and it talked about Steph Curry being the best player of the 2010s. This is a discussion I've not only a statement I've not just heard from him, but also other basketball, prevalent people. Basically saying Steph Curry is the greatest or the best player of this generation or this decade, this past decade. Sorry. From 2010 to 2020, Steph Curry was the best player of this generation. So we're going to depictate a lot of different things. We're going to talk about, Steph Curry in a whole. We're going to break some things down because this is a person that we have not really spoken a lot about on this channel, which is pretty ironic because right behind the Clipper fan base, the biggest fan base of supporters I pretty much have is Golden State. A lot of Golden State Warrior fans are on my channel. A lot of Golden State Warriors fans, they pop up. A lot of Golden State Warrior fans, I have a lot of people from the Bay. I live right here in, Southern California. So obviously the Bay is right there in Northern California. So I have a lot of Warrior fans on my page. Shout out to my man Elysi. Shout out to my man Oaktown, East Oakland, who is Hendo. Shout out to, Just Blaze, my man Alex. Shout out to, T Sweezy, who is a, Steph Curry fan. There's a lot of different people who are Warrior fans are on my channel. Shout out to my man Cyrus, who works for Locked On Warriors, Rick Barry, former Warrior, Steve Kerr, head coach of the Warriors. So, huge fan base and, huge, people in that organization. So we're going to talk a little bit about this, man, just to kind of, get the mix and the crux of it. So y'all hold tight. All right, so here we go. So what I'm pulling up right now is Steph Curry's Land of Basketball. This is just, his quick little profile right here. Obviously, y'all can see just Steph Curry's, quick facts about him. Just, off the bottom, this page right here, it says, NBA season is obviously 15 years in the NBA, 9 playoff appearances, 4 championships, and 10-time All-Star. 9 times he is a one-time MVP. Got drafted in 2009 from University of Davidson College in North Carolina. He was the 7th overall pick. So that's just kind of some quick facts about Stephen Curry, and these are coming, his accomplishments right here, as y'all can see in the whole. Like I said, 4-time champion, 10-time All-Star player. Awards, every single year in awards, multi-All-NBA team player. Steals leader, scoring leader twice. Season MVP twice, unanimously. Finals MVP once, obviously. The steals leader, a clutch player of the year in 2024. Those are some of just some of his accomplishments. All NBA rookie first team, obviously his first year of his career. And then you look at his numbers, which I'm gonna actually do this. I'm gonna go ahead and put on this stat muse and actually show you specific years, because what we're doing is we're talking about just the past decade. So I want to make sure that I keep things in perspective and not just, put everything from, before 2010 and everything after 2020. So we're specifically talking about just this decade. So that means from 2010 to 2020, we're talking about Steph Curry and what he has done. So it says right here, Steph Curry averaged 25 points per game, 6.6 assists, 4.6 rebounds in 682 games between 2010 and 2011, 2020, 2021 seasons. So as y'all can see, that is considered a decade, which is 10 years or 10 seasons. So right here, these are all the years that Steph Curry, is from that decade. We're going to go ahead and exclude 2021, and we're just going to focus on these 10 lines right here. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to talk about every single, obviously, read all these stats out, because that's going to be boring. So I want y'all to kind of get the opportunity to kind of look for yourselves at what y'all seeing on the screen, with the statistics. Obviously, 25.5 points per game is what he's been averaging. Steph Curry, I would say his prime years are from 2015 all the way to about 2000 and I would say his prime about 2021. Well, I would consider his prime maybe 2022. Let me take that back. From 2015 to 2022, when he won his last championship, you can consider that his prime. He's still obviously pretty effective right now. He's 35 years old. But those are the years that you talk about, the unanimous MVPs, the scoring titles, the 73 and 9 record that they did, is back in 2016. That's what you consider his prime. And as y'all can see, his points per game, obviously, throughout the season, you got 30 points per game, 25, 26, 27, 20 of the year that he was actually out with the injury, played 5 games that year, and then he ranked it up to 32 points per game in 2020-21, where he's actually the I think he led the league in scoring. As y'all come this, hit that like button. But on the flip side, not just as a scorer, if quiet is kept, Steph Curry also is a person that gets impactful and gets steals, which a lot of people might be surprised with. You know, basically that's highlighting that Steph Curry is not considered so much of a, you know, bad defender. He actually puts in effort on defense, and he actually has quick hands. He actually has good reflexes, and he's actually a smart player in position. And, you know, when it comes to defense, you don't have to be the fastest player on the court. But what you need to do is know how to, you know, use your body as far as positioning. If you don't have the physical gifts, and you have to, you know what I'm saying, understand angles, right? You have to know how to beat a player to their spot. Steph Curry obviously has a gift to me where he has great hand-eye coordination, which helps him, you know what I'm saying, not just shoot the ball, you know what I'm saying, have, you know, great accuracy, but also he actually understands how to, you know, guard his man using his angles, using his reflexes, using his hands. He has actually, you know, quiet as kept, he has long, you know, pretty long arms, a good reach, good wingspan. So he's not as bad as a defender as people try to portray him out to be. He's actually a pretty average defender, meaning that you just can't, you know what I'm saying, take advantage of him unless you're just, you know, physically more imposing and has more size. But as far as Steph Curry's position at point guard, you know, you're not going to really exploit him unless, you know, might have a Kyrie Irving or, you know what I'm saying, a vintage James Harden who, you know, is the cream of the crop that might, you know, give him a hard time. But other than that, he can guard, you know, pretty much an average, you know, good point guard or hold his weight. But I say that to say all this, you know, scoring, defense, assisting the basketball, obviously, you know what I'm saying, he pretty much does, you know, a lot of the things that, you know, surround him as, you know, obviously one of the top players of this past decade. You even look at the rebounding. Also, something that Steph Curry people don't know. He's 6'3". He is somebody that's, you know, considered, you know, pretty. I wouldn't, you know, say skinny as he used to be, but he still has a pretty slender frame. He's not the most athletic player, but what he does do, he gets on those boards, and he actually has had many games where he actually, you know, has had high rebounds. So when you look at, you know, you see 4.3 rebounds, 5.4 rebounds, 5 rebounds, 5.3 rebounds, 4.5 rebounds, and things of that nature. At his size, that's actually, you know, pretty good at his position for a guy that's just known to shoot the ball. So what I'm looking at, and not just what I'm looking at as far as statistics, but how I watch Steph Curry play, he's a person that wants to win. He's a guy that, you know what I'm saying, plays to win. He doesn't play for stats. The stats come within the game. And those type of players are the players you want on your team because they're not going to get in the way of the bottom line. And, you know, Steph Curry, you know, is one of those type of players that seems to, you know, have good aura around him. He seems to have, you know what I'm saying, people that just want to play with him. You know what I'm saying, from his teammates, they all have, you know, nothing but good things to say about him. So that's why I want to bring out with, you know what I'm saying, Steph Curry, you know what I'm saying, with his, you know, accomplishments and statistics. Now, I want y'all to kind of hear what, you know, Crunch Time TV spoke about when it came to, you know what I'm saying, Steph Curry, why, you know, he has this man, you know, ranked as the best player of all time, or the best player of this past decade, because, you know, shit, that rubs us, you know, certain fan bases the wrong way. And when I say certain fan base, I'm talking about specifically one. So let's hear what Crunch Time TV had to say. I'm gonna be stopping it, you know what I'm saying, here and there, pausing it, things of that nature. So, yeah, here we go.
You know what I mean? So you say he had Klay Thompson. All these dudes had more help. Yeah, we're gonna really dive into it, man. Steph Curry, the best player from this generation, dog. It just is what it is. You people mad already, bro.
So just a quick little, you know, stoppage, man. Crunch Time TV has been on my show a couple times, man. Just basically what I, you know, observe with him, you know, I actually kind of take a liking to him. Like I said, I'm gonna keep it honest and keep it real. He came on my show actually during the playoffs this year, talking about the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic being the Clipper. Now, obviously, Kawhi Leonard didn't play, or when he did play, he was just as a shell of himself. But he picked the Mavericks to beat the Clippers this year, so that's how he kind of came on my panel. But I watch his, some of his streams, and I like to watch people who have good content, period, and who understand basketball. So I took a chance, listen to some of his content. And the brother has some, good knowledge of the game. I've even seen some of his videos. He actually got, he can ball a little bit too. So he looks like a person that, not only just studies the game, but actually play the game. And as y'all know, I definitely take a liking to people like that and content creators like that. Shout out to my man, Eleazy. Shout out to Who Is Him, though. Shout out to Ticket TV. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's only a few certain people who have actually played the game who's doing this content creating. So that's a very valuable thing that I look at when I talk about how I look at players and how I look at how content creators are. You know what I'm saying? Because players to me have something that where you can actually talk to them about certain things. So as y'all just heard him say, he said Steph Curry is the best player of this decade. And it's just so ironic it's so much to happen. He had his best historic game in a crucial time in the Olympics. So, good timing from Crunch Time TV. So now what he's going to do, he's going to talk a little bit about, comparing, some of the players on this screen who Steph Curry's had a winning record in. So basically his whole thing is, because he's had these winning records against these type of players, that puts him as, the best player of this decade. LeBron James, he's 17-11 against. James Harden, 14-6. Damian Lillard, he's undefeated at 10-0. Anthony Davis, 9-5. Kevin Durant, 4-3. Russell Westbrook, 4-3. He's had the winning records against all these top players of this decade, and that's his case on why he feels like Steph Curry is the best player of this decade. But I'm gonna talk a little bit about something a little bit, a little deeper, and get back to y'all. So I want y'all to hear the little next time he had to say. All right, here we go.
Curry needed KD to beat him at the year after LeBron won. Curry already beat KD and Russ at the same time, so he didn't need nothing. And he won another one without. Come on, bro. When y'all gonna give that up? That he needed KD, man. You said OKC made the finals before that. He got spanked. And he got spanked in 2012. And he had Russ and Harden on the team. He got spanked.
So he talking about Kevin Durant right now. So obviously the notion is that Steph Curry needed KD. Obviously he has Steph Curry over KD, and I mean he's using this this graphic to support his point. But he basically going against the notion that Steph Curry recruited KD, which is speculative. More so, I think it was Draymond Green that wanted him. And I think Steph Curry, being who he is, a supportive teammate that he is, decided to say, yeah, I want to have KD here too. But I don't think he was going looking for KD because he just beat KD. You know what I'm saying? The year before in 2016, they had him down. The Warriors were down 3-1 against KD and Russell Westbrook. So they come back and win 3 straight games. I don't think he was looking for, KD. I think he was just saying, okay, well, we'll just run it back the next year. But see, that's the thing about Steph Curry I like too. He doesn't wait for confidence. He's the type of person, as y'all can see with Golden State, he wants to ride out the wave, and he's somewhat of a guy who's underground as well, because Steph Curry came into the league as a person and as a player that wasn't, highly recruited out of high school. He wasn't highly recruited out of college. I think he had an opportunity where he wanted to play for Duke because he's from he used to live in North Carolina, and they passed him over. So they later on, I think offered him a scholarship to go play at Duke when he finally started, showing himself in high school as a senior. But he chose to go to Davidson College because the coach actually supported him before he got all that notoriety, and he showed loyalty to that school. So that just speaks to his morals and his morality of who he is. He's not going to jump ship to, basically, win a championship. That you have to come to his neck of the woods to be able to do that. Steph Curry, he may be a babyface assassin, but he is somewhat of a alpha, where he doesn't like to cling on to other people's houses. But yeah, he's basically breaking down that Steph Curry's over KD and Russell Westbrook, and that he was able to prevail against it. So let's continue to hear him talk.
Spanky Hayes. We need to call KD Spanky Hayes. All the times he got spanked. So you have that, and then you have a situation where he beat Damian Lillard 10 times in a row. You said Bron could have two-peated. Yeah, but it's always something in the way of, you feel me? Bron's supposed to not let that happen, bro. You're supposed to defend your title. You're supposed to defend.
So I don't mean to keep stopping, but I gotta keep putting things in perspective because I don't know the volume. I don't know if y'all can really hear his volume because it's kind of low. But he beat Damian Lillard 10 straight times. Now, I don't know why Dame's on this list, to be honest, because he's not a superstar. He doesn't really, I'll say this. Dame's another person who's made the playoffs year after year after year. He's beaten some great players as well. He's beaten Paul George. He's beaten who else did he beat? Russell Westbrook. He beat did they beat Houston that one year where he hit that game win. I don't know if James Harden was on that team or not. I think he was in 2013. Yeah, he was on that team. He beat Houston. They beat he beat Jokic. You know what I'm saying? 2016? I think they beat Jokic that one year. Where was it 2016 or was it 2019? I think it was 2019. I'm tripping. 2019 they beat Jokic in Denver in Game 7. Well, I think Portland was the lower seed. So Dame's beating some guys as well. You know what I'm saying? But he's not a superstar that you can look at as one of the top players of this. I'm talking about top 5 in the last decade. So he said he basically swept Dame because there was a discussion, kind of where Dame was, looked at one of the top point guards in the league, top 3, with all the notoriety he was getting. So, he swept him, and then, obviously they beat the Pelicans and Anthony Davis when he was kind of a young pup, which, I don't really look at Anthony AD as a number 1 option. But then, you got James Harden, who's another person. Steph Curry's pretty much, had his way with. So now he's going to talk about LeBron James, about, the whole notion about, him basically doing this and that to beat LeBron, which Crunch Time had a kind of very, very good way of actually explaining things. So I'm going to let him explain it.
Defend your title, bro. Stephen Curry had to really, deal with, if he didn't have Kevin Durant, he'd have had to keep playing against Bron and Kyrie, bro. That's not even fair. But then y'all would have been happy with that, though, for Bron to just have all that help. So he can just win and stack the deck and win. Y'all don't like when he got to prove it. Y'all don't like it better when he got to prove it, head to head. I liked it better when it was 2012. Because I think the matchups was even. 2016, I don't think the matchups was that even. For Steph to get KD, y'all shouldn't get scared about that. But, I don't know. That's just me, for real. Never played him in the playoffs, so nice try. This is a playoff record. Which is what I always say, 16-6, that's a regular season. You say I'm talking out the side of my neck? No, I'm reading out the front of my screen. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm doing. Is I'm reading up my screen. It says playoff record. Super versus superstars. You said he was.
So I'm gonna stop it right there. And as y'all come in, hit that like button. So we're gonna leave it right there with Crunch for a minute. I'm gonna take this off for a brief second. We'll come back to him. But those are kind of the sentiments he spoke upon. He talked a little bit about, KD. He talked about Dame. He talks about LeBron, where basically his whole thing was, hey, you you considered, the GOAT, you considered this, that, and the other. He actually pushed back on the notion that, the Warriors were just so much of an unbeatable team, and how you had, certain players that actually took him to the brink, but the media basically made it out to be like LeBron James, which is pretty much alone by himself, where he couldn't actually, get over the hump, and that pretty much those, final shit have asterisks on them. So that kind of, highlights, how he feels about that. He talked about how Steph Curry faced competition in the Western Conference, and other superstars that he had to go through that LeBron James didn't have to face in the Eastern Conference. Right? So, like I said, crunch time, he does have his, knowledge when it comes to the game. He does know how to break things down. And that's a fact. Steph Curry pretty much has went through everybody in the Western Conference. He's had to face historic teams, and this goes back to like how I said, the reason why I think LeBron James is so bad in the finals is because most of the times he's dealing with, a lot of those Eastern Conference teams where they face the Western Conference teams who's went through the gauntlet already and they're prepared. A team like Cleveland, it's a more, easier, battle because they've already faced all the tougher competition in the Western Conference. Him going to 8 straight finals in the Eastern Conference, I don't know if it's about his greatness or I don't know if it's about how easy the competition was. Maybe it'd be a little bit of both, but, there's not a player I can recall that's been able to do that. So when I look at the competition LeBron James had in the Eastern Conference, beating teams like a young Paul George, beating DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, a younger Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Isaiah Thomas. They beat who else did they face? If I'm thinking about, I remember they played the Knicks with Carmelo Anthony, which was a good matchup in the first round when he was in his prime. So what I'm saying is, there's certain good players, but either there are two things: either they're young or they're not, the cream of the crop that LeBron James was facing in the Eastern Conference. And that's why I say I feel like, why his record was so bad in the finals, because he wasn't being challenged as, those Western Conference teams were being challenged. So, and we're talking about, again, the 2010 to 2020 decade. So, back to Steph Curry. Obviously, crunch time is supporting the notion that Steph Curry is the best player of this generation, or of this decade. I keep saying generation. So, I pulled up his numbers, I pulled up his accolades and his accomplishments. Now I want to pull up a quote that Steph Curry actually said. He actually ranked who his top 5 players were of this past decade, because like I said before, for us to continuously, have discussions like this, you got to be able to, compare them to the peers. It's just how it is. You got to compare them to the contemporaries. So when I look at Steph Curry and I look at what he's done, who he's been able to go up against, he's going to talk about, who he feels like the top 5 players in no particular order of this past decade. So let's look at, what Steph Curry has came up with. So right here on Clutch Points, it says Steph Curry lists his top 5 players in the league from his era in no particular order with the eyes emoji. You got LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard himself, and James Harden. Right? So again, you got LeBron, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard himself, and James Harden. Now, I want y'all to remember this list because we're going to go back to it because I got some things to say about this. But when I look at the list and I see, the past decade from 2010 to 2020, let's just go with era. Let's not even talk about just specifically decade. Let's talk about his era. So basically, the years where they were competing, you can even stretch it out, past 2020, and talk about where Steph Curry falls in line. And this is the other 4 players that he puts on that list. So when I look at the list right here, I can say I can attest to that. All these guys are obviously champions, outside of James Harden. All these guys have had multiple All-NBA team awards. All these guys have had, appearance to the finals, multiple conference finals appearances. you know, they basically have a certain makeup about themselves to be consistent. And that's what it comes down to, being consistent, being consistently great. You know, anybody can get to a certain level one time, you know what I'm saying, if, you know, if it happens even twice, but to continuously do it for an entire decade, year in and year out, that's a, you know what I'm saying, special company. And all these guys pretty much deserve, yes, even James Harden from 2010 to 2020, because if you recognize James Harden, what he has done, like I said, I made a video about him earlier. I, I I think there's a lot of stuff that people don't really give him credit for. How, you know, his longevity, how long he's been great, how long he's, you know what I'm saying, not missed the playoffs, how he's been able to lead teams to, you know what I'm saying, deep runs year after year. The only knock on him is that he hasn't been able to get him to the finals. So I think that basically clouds a lot of people's judgment about him. I do not think he's, you know, on the, you know, the same ilk as LeBron, KD, and Kawhi and Steph, but I think he's riding that next tier. So let's go one by one. Steph Curry, you know what I'm saying, you know, basically saying his top 5 of this era. So first one's obviously James Harden, we just mentioned. Now, this goes back to what I said again. The question is Steph Curry the best player of this past generation or this past era? So the question is Steph Curry over James Harden? Now, when I rank these players, I have these discussions. What I like to do, I take everything into a whole. I don't just look at numbers. I don't just look at stats. I don't just look at, you know what I'm saying, accomplishments. I don't look at, you know what I'm saying, if I like the player. There's a lot of things I look at when it comes to, I look at everything. I look at their impact. I look at their, you know, accolades and awards. I look at the teams that they have, the competition they faced. You know what I'm saying, their playing style, you know, what they can do on the court, what they can't do on the court. It's a number of things I look at. You know what I'm saying, that mix in with everything to, you know, make the determination. So I made a point saying that earlier when I was talking about James Harden is when he was in Houston, he was a special type of player. He's really a special type of player, period, throughout his whole entire career, because he was able to, you know what I'm saying, become a defensive 6-man player in OKC, going into a all-world squad in Houston, where he's looked at as, you know what I'm saying, one of the top scorers of all time, to Brooklyn, where he turned into a personified poised point guard, you know what I'm saying, able to share the ball with 2 elite weapons like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, where he's able to run the offense when, you know what I'm saying, neither person was there for parts of the season. He was able to keep their team afloat. And then you go to Philadelphia, he did the same thing with Joel Embiid. And now with the Clippers, he did with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George last year. James Harden throughout the regular season obviously is a, you know, and it goes back to say he says he's the system, right? His system basically is he needs lob threats, 3-point shooting, and guys who are going to play defense around him. That's what James Harden needs. Every player needs certain pieces around him. How I rank players is based off of what they do in the big moments, in the clutch moments, and that's where James Harden falls short. As great as he is in the regular season, as great as he is in certain rounds of the postseason, you know what I'm saying, first round, second round, you know what I'm saying, games 1, 4, you know, 2 and 3, he seems to, you know what I'm saying, as it gets deeper into the water, games 6 and 7, i.e., those are the games that he starts kind of struggling in. You know what I'm saying, the inefficient nights, the turn the ball over at crucial times. You know, that's what James Harden has done. So when you look at a guy like Steph Curry, and, you know, the record that, you know, Steph Curry has against James Harden, which is 14 and 6, I had my declarations that as an individual player, there's things that James Harden can do that Steph Curry hasn't do, like, you know, lead them team to the playoffs. But what Steph Curry has to nod over James Harden is in those big moments where your team needs a certain, you know what I'm saying, a big shot, or the impact he has as far as how he's being covered by the defenses, you know, and his accolades, you know what I'm saying, his accomplishments, winning championships, and the head-to-head record he has against James Harden. It's hard for us not to put him over James Harden, just based off of that. You know, he has a 14 and 6 running record over him. He's beating James Harden when Steph Curry didn't have Kevin Durant. Remember, in 2019, Houston had Chris Paul and James Harden on the court. That was their chance to avenge Golden State when Chris Paul went out the previous year. That was their time, and that was their time for James Harden to show up. And obviously, he did not do that. So that's what I hold against him. I can't put James Harden only so far on this top list because there's certain holes in his game that I can't really respect. Now, as far as an all-world offense and having a system, by all means, yes, he's one of the most exciting players of this past era. As I said before, James Harden does have a fan base. But over Steph Curry, he has a fan base too, and it's probably bigger. And his resume outdoes James Harden's. But good comparison. Let's go to Kevin Durant because this is a person that he talked about as KD. KD played against Steph Curry and actually played with Steph Curry. Steph Curry has a 4-3 record against, KD. Obviously, first and only time playing against each other in playoffs in 2016, where Golden State was down 3-1. And if you want me to be completely honest, OKC had the better team. They had the more younger team. They had, the style, the flash, the pizzazz. They had, more of a complete team with offense and defense. And their point guard, Russell Westbrook, at the time, you had certain people saying he was better than Steph Curry. You can look at Russell Westbrook at that time being a top 2 point guard in the NBA with Steph Curry, followed by Chris Paul, followed by Damian Lillard, followed by John Wall. Russell Westbrook, that's who was right by Steph Curry. And Kevin Durant had him. He had James Harden. He had, number of, good players beside him. And they lost that series against, Golden State 3-1. That's obviously a tainted on his resume. And as you guys see, since KD has left Golden State, he's had, his, issues trying to, he's had certain, pitfalls in his plans. He goes right to Brooklyn. Obviously, the first year they didn't have Kyrie and James Harden finish the playoffs, and they had a chance to, beat Milwaukee with Game 7 being back in Brooklyn. They didn't get it done. The next following year, they fell apart. They played in Brooklyn for 4 seasons, and they just never got over the hump, and they never got past the second round. And, a number of things were happening. The roster was poorly constructed. I think the management, with Joe Tsai and Sean Marks was not the greatest. And I think the inconsistency with, Kyrie Irving not being there affected the team as well. So I think KD, and what a lot of people don't like to talk about is he's another one that's had great players around him. He's had opportunities to close the deal, and he hasn't get it done. Because based off of his ability and how tall he is and how long he is and how skilled he is, we're talking about a person to me who should have at least more than one finals appearance in 16 seasons. I'm gonna say that again. This man should have more than one finals appearance in over 16 seasons. And as time has gone, even with Phoenix this past year getting swept by Anthony Edwards, you can kind of see, the age catching up to Kevin Durant, where he knows, it's not a young man's league no more. It's not an old man's league. We're old. So KD's we're going to see how KD's ranked when his career is done. But as far as Stephen Curry in the 2010s and what he accomplished, and because he came to the Warriors and they actually helped him get his own first and only 2 championships, and Steph Curry proven, like Crunch said in the video, he won a championship without KD in 2022 to, solidify that, his greatness. I think that is what stamps him over KD this past decade. So that takes care of KD. Now I'm going to talk about 2 more players because obviously there's 2 players. There's one player on the list who wasn't on the list in Crunch Time's video, but he's on the list here with Steph Curry, and that's Mr. Kawhi Leonard. That's Kawhi Leonard right here. as y'all can see, Steph Curry put him in the top 5. But in crunch times, in TV, you had guys like Damian Lillard, Anthony Davis, who are not top players of this past generation or this past era. You know what I'm saying? Even Damian Lillard is somewhat like a guy under the tier. James Harden's under the tier, but this guy Kawhi Leonard is solidified. And according to Steph Curry, he's one of the top 4 players outside of him to be named that category. You guys understand how easy it is to forget about Kawhi Leonard, man, just based off these injuries. But somebody who don't forget about the players is the players. I told y'all, man, if you guys want to know about how a player is, ask the player themselves. Go to them, ask them, talk to them about certain players. Don't run to the media because they're going to tell you one or two things. One way of basically out of ignorance, the other way based out of spite and jealousy. But I'm going to say it again. One out of ignorance, one out of spite and jealousy. Right? So what does Steph Curry do? He pretty much says out loud that, hey, Kawhi Leonard, this man deserves to be in this top 5. So I want y'all to hear another quick segment from Crunch Time about Kawhi Leonard. In the discussion, because even though he wasn't on the list, Crunch Time did mention Kawhi. So I want y'all to hear his.
You said Kawhi would have ended the Warriors dynasty if he didn't get hurt. Well, that show you right there that team wasn't that unbeatable. They only had one superstar on the team too. They was about to beat the Warriors. Think about that. The Spurs, that man Kawhi Leonard was about to beat the Spurs by himself. Was about to beat the Warriors by himself before he got injured. Everybody talking about Bron can't do it by himself, bro. Just do it. All right, you know what, bro? All right, get off my list then. Oh, I can't do it all by myself, man. What you want me to do? All right, cool. Get off my Mount Rushmore, bro. I only want confident athletes on my list. I want Larry Bird to say, you know what? Who they got on that team? They added KD. Guess what? KD, I'm gonna shoot from right there, and I'm gonna make it. Even if he gonna lose, I'd rather pick him up. I don't want somebody that's going, oh man, what I'm supposed to do, man? I mean, they didn't add a KD. What I'm supposed to do now? We ain't got a chance to win now, man. Oh my gosh, man. What we gonna do, man? I'd rather pick up somebody else.
All right, so that concludes what Crunch Time had to say. But I want to kind of, depict a couple of things he said. As y'all come in, smash that like button, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Keep hitting that like button for your boy. Keep sharing, subscribing the video, all that good stuff, man. Make sure y'all continue to support. But there's a couple of things that he said that were, personified or, prevalent. And I don't know if Crunch is from Baltimore or he's from New York, one of the two, but he definitely from the East Coast with that accent. I think he's from Baltimore, if I'm not mistaken, bro. So I want to kind of hit up on what he said about Kawhi. So obviously Kawhi is a person that's not on this list when he talks about who Steph Curry has basically had his way with. And the reason why he's not on this list is because Steph Curry has not had his way with Kawhi Leonard. So as y'all can see, I had a little bit of fun in, Crunch Time's comments where I actually brought up and said a comment. I said, yeah, 5 and 8 versus Kawhi, put that one in there too. And I'm going to let y'all kind of see the replies, what was said after the fact. But Steph Curry has a 5 and 8 record against Kawhi in the postseason and the playoffs. And I'm presuming, they're all in 2010 to 2020. Because, again, this is a conversation of if Steph is the best player of this era. So, obviously, I put 5 and 8 versus Kawhi with that one in there, too. And then this man named Sham, I'm not going to say the rest of the name, said Kawhi is the only one with a winning record against Curry. This is coming from a real Warriors fan. So he said that, and I said, "Yep." And Crunch Time didn't want to put that up there. So you got Warrior fans saying the same thing that I've been saying, and like I said, from the Warrior fans that I've come across, a lot of them they have a lot of respect for Kawhi. And I think a lot of it has to do not just what happened in 2019, but happened in 2017, where the Warriors were at a spot in game one against the Spurs where Kawhi Leonard was basically cooking the entire team. That goes for Steph Curry, that goes for Draymond Green, that goes for Klay Thompson. He was cooking that whole team. No matter whoever wanted it could get it. He had 25 points up until till the third quarter. And he was just basically like making it look easy. So as a player, when you watch that up close and you have to go against it, you already know who is who. See, it's easy for fans to say this guy shouldn't be here, this guy shouldn't be here. And that's why I tell people, just ask the players. Just talk to the players, man, because they're the ones on the court that they have to deal with these beasts. You just on the computer screen, behind the computer screen talking. Oh, Kawhi ain't this, or Kawhi ain't that. Kawhi's always hurt. Kawhi's just, he low match, he injury prone, he cheating the game. He's, what I'm saying, he don't want to play. He's always hurt. He's selfish, like he's stealing money. So everybody already got an opinion about him. Everybody always got something to say. But as I keep saying, listen to the players. Patrick Beverley, the video I just put out yesterday, what did he say? Hardest worker on the court is Kawhi. Hardest worker in the gym is LeBron. Hardest worker together is Kawhi and LeBron. See, if I didn't play that clip or nobody's seen it, they would think that this man just doesn't want to play basketball at all. But guys who are, in the trenches with these dudes year in and year out, day in and day out, they know what's going on. And everybody that's been around Kawhi Leonard knows he works extremely hard. He's always looked as one of the best workers in the league, but he just doesn't post it. And it looks like Steph Curry is just noticing, his greatness. But again, this is about Crunch basically making the case that, Steph is over these guys off of head-to-head records. Well, it looks like Steph Curry has ran into a little bit of a, pitfall when it comes to Kawhi Leonard because he's 5-8 against him. That's a losing record against a guy, that has not only been, he's been robbed from injuries. He's still been able to manage to have a better head-to-head record against this man. As I said before, man, the league better be lucky that Kawhi Leonard has been injured. They need to be lucky. I'm telling you, if this man has not missed six playoff runs in his prime, right? Not just his career. He in his prime, this man has missed six playoffs. Right? You talking about 2018. You talking about 2017 he didn't finish. 2017, 2018 he didn't finish. 2021 he didn't finish. 2022 he didn't play. 2023 he didn't finish. 2024 he didn't finish. That's 6 playoff runs this man did not either finish or compete in at all. That's championships left on the table. And this man still can retire today and have a Hall of Fame career. So, do I think Steph Curry is a greater player than Kawhi Leonard this past decade? I mean, based off of the availability and his ability to play, you got to put Steph Curry there because of just the tenure he's been on the court. But as far as a player who I would pick, it's not even. Well, I ain't gonna say close. I ain't gonna disrespect Steph like that, but it's Kawhi Leonard because he's a two-way player, and he's a more dominant player, and he's a more winning player, and he beat the same guy on the court. See, in 2019, it was Kawhi versus Steph Curry, right? if Crunch saying that he didn't need Kevin Durant, why couldn't he beat Steph? Why couldn't Steph Curry beat Kawhi Leonard that year? Kawhi had Kyle Lowry as his second best player. He had a bunch of role players around him, a good defensive team. But if you're telling me Steph Curry is all this, and what you say is, why can't he win without Kevin Durant? And people gonna say, well, he didn't have Klay Thompson. He had Klay Thompson for 5.5 of those games, right? He had Klay Thompson for 4.5 in those games, and they were still down 3-1 in the first 4 games. They were down 3-1, and Klay Thompson was right there playing. So obviously, Klay Thompson wasn't the thing that was keeping them from winning because they were still down. And the game that he was out in Game 2, the Warriors won. So you can't use that. Now, if you want to use KD, then that's one thing. That's another thing. But just, again, according to the Crunch and according to a lot of, Steph Curry fans, KD needed the Warriors. So it shouldn't have been a problem for Steph to win. But I find that interesting that Kawhi Leonard's now on that list. Now, I'm going to go into the last player right here, and that's LeBron James. Obviously, LeBron James and Steph Curry has faced each other many times in the NBA Finals. As y'all come here, hit that like button. Steph Curry and LeBron James has faced each other in the NBA Finals multiple times. With Steph Curry's had, the upper hand. He has a 3-2 overall. No, I'm sorry. What is it? Let me make sure I got this correct. He's 17-11 against LeBron James and head-to-heads in the finals. Now, this is probably going to be one of the most storied rivalries of all time. That Warriors and Cavs, or Warriors and Cavs and Warriors and Cavs, one of the most storied rivalries of all time. You know what I'm saying? You got two guys, one's 35, the other one's 39, about to be 40. This is one of the rivalries you look at. It's like, man, where'd the time go? So, Steph Curry better than LeBron James. There's Steph and Curry right there, and LeBron after today's win against Serbia. Now, the past decade, I want to just kind of bring up, some of the head-to-heads between Steph and LeBron, because obviously this is the one that people talk about, who's the top dog is LeBron or Steph Curry. So, 4 championships, 15 seasons for Steph, 21 LeBron. LeBron got 6 seasons over him. 9 playoffs played to 17 for LeBron. 1 NBA Cup for LeBron, 0 for Steph Curry, which I don't even really talk about that. That in-season tournament crap. All-Star games, 10-20. Obviously, LeBron doubles him in that. Like I said, he's had 6 seasons above Steph, so a good portion of these awards are going back, before 2010s, which we're not talking about. We're talking about 2010 to 2020, 2021. That's what we're talking about. But even if you chop that up for LeBron, he's still going to have, more of the accolades and have more of the accomplishments. You look at the numbers right here. Obviously, this is where LeBron James shines. He basically beats him in every category. Even the category that you would think Steph would beat him, which is the steal, because he's a smaller guy and he guards smaller people. LeBron is tied with him as well. So, the numbers, the accolades, the accomplishments favor LeBron James. That's definitely something that, we cannot dispute. So, all Crunch Time has is this head-to-head record, but also what he could also, say and talk about is, I think the runs that Steph Curry had in the finals, I think he had more memorable moments. I think what it is, people look at Steph as a guy who is not the, quickest, is not the most athletic, he's not the biggest, and they think, okay, well, this guy, he's an athlete, but he's not like a superhuman athlete. So they kind of look at him a little bit more, they kind of grade him with a more softer approach. You don't really hear nobody talk about Steph Curry in the media or bad about him, period. And that's, his personality. He doesn't, he doesn't really like to get into certain, you know what I'm saying, dumb things, which is very, very, you know what I'm saying, commendable. But Steph is the, he's the poster child. All the kids love him. The women love him. The men love him. Basketball players love him. You know what I'm saying? His wife loves him. His kids love him. Come from he has a great support system. It's just like that type, that Bill Cosby, Family Matters, Fresh Prince ordeal where you got the black kids, living at large, man. But it's like I said, man. We talk about Steph Curry and LeBron James. From the accomplishments to the statistics to the moments to the, you know what I'm saying, his physical size and, what he's able to do on the court and what he's accomplished as well. I can't put Steph over LeBron James this past decade. What I will say is that I think it was more impressive what Steph did, and I think that's why people give Steph the nod, because they look at just the, you know what I'm saying, the struggle. You know what I'm saying? Him having to, play for an organization that, wasn't very good in Golden State, wasn't selling, a lot of tickets. Steph Curry's, turned that, entire franchise, not the franchise, but that entire city around off the backs of him, which he deserves a lot of credit for. So I get it. I get why people say they think Steph is the greatest, player of this past decade. But I keep saying we have to put context. We have to actually prove it. And when I look at, what Steph has accomplished to LeBron, what he's accomplished, even from the, 2010 to now, he's been struggling. I mean, he's not. I'm sorry. I said LeBron James is I think a bit better, and I say bit just to be nice. I think he is better, just period. I think Steph is in that who's the best point guard debate between Magic Johnson, him, Oscar Robertson. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of, discussion he's in. But as far as the best player of this, past decade, as I've said before, most of the times the best players are, between the heights of like 6'5" to about, 6'10", right? Maybe 7 feet. You're talking about Jokic and Embiid, but for the most part, there's a certain look and there's a certain feel that, a lot of the best players get. And I think Steph Curry, as great as he is, as much magic he produces, I don't think that, excuse me, he's able to do what LeBron James can do. Right? I think LeBron James can carry a team. Like I said before, Steph Curry missed the playoffs for 2 of the last 4 seasons in 2021, where he lost to not just LeBron James, but he lost to John Morant on his home court in the NBA play-in. And then you fast forward to this past year where they lost to De'Aaron Fox, where he missed the playoffs again. So Steph obviously has missed the postseason a number of times. And that kind of does taint his, legacy a little bit. But what I will agree with Crunch Time, what he said is about LeBron James basically having to be pampered and be babied when he can't seem to beat the Warriors and couldn't figure it out. And you had the entire media getting mad at the Warriors for basically quote unquote cheating the game and stacking the deck. That's where that stacking the deck came from. I recall James Harden taking him and the Warriors to 7 games. Right, with players like Trevor Ariza, Clint Capella, Chris Paul, older Chris Paul, who got hurt in games 6 and 7. You know what I'm saying? You had Eric Gordon on that team. You had Gerald Green. You had those type of players you have with, James Harden. A lot of good role players, but you had no stars. And they had the Warriors on the ropes. They most certainly did. With KD there, with Draymond Green there, with Klay Thompson there. You know what I'm saying? And with Steph Curry there, they had that team on the brink to beat them. Meanwhile, LeBron James couldn't get more than one game against Golden State and said that it was too hard for him to compete. And then you look at a guy like Kawhi Leonard, you know what he was doing to the Warriors. He was basically carrying them in ways that I ain't seen, them just basically manhandle somebody. That's what Kawhi Leonard was doing. And he basically broke up the dynasty. He broke up the dynasty. Kevin Durant left right after in 2019. But what happened to Kawhi in 2017, 2019 was payback. It was payback. It was personal. So, Crunch Time said he's better than LeBron. As much as I get on LeBron James, I cannot put him over LeBron James either. Just off of, the body of work and what he's done. And, yes, he has a losing record against Steph Curry in the playoffs. That's fair. But as far as an individual player, nah, I can't put him over LeBron James, man. But I guarantee you this, if he wins a championship, a fifth title, now you can sit up here and say, okay, well, yeah, he's over LeBron because he's one up to him. He has the right to kind of, talk trash. Same way Kobe did Shaq when they both had 4 and Kobe went out there and get that 5th ring and Shaq, knew he had to give up to Kobe. It's kind of the same thing here. So, like I said, man, I will not knock on anybody on their list on who they decide to pick, but Steph Curry's over James Harden. He's over Kevin Durant. He's over Kawhi Leonard due to default and injury. But the one guy I think has him over is LeBron. So that's what I want to kind of put over here, man. I definitely appreciate Steph Curry and his game and what he's able to do on the court. That's definitely just inspiring to watch. But as the best player in the league or the best player this past era, nah, I can't do that, man. But as y'all, leave, make sure y'all hit that like button, hit the share, subscribe, hit the Cash App, and all that good stuff, man. We'll be back next time. Pull up, chirp, live. Peace. Out of here, like, swim well.
Like that. Woo!